Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, my YouTube family. Today we are talking about beauty hacks. Beauty and makeup hacks to make your base look flawless, your makeup last longer, and to stop you from making a mess in the first place. So if you are interested in any of those things, stay tuned. Today is all about beauty and makeup hacks. We're going to jump right into it because we got a lot of hacks to talk about. Some of these hacks are about making your makeup look better. Some of these hacks are about making it last longer or be mask proof, but we're going to just jump right into it. So hack number one is about how you apply your primer. I'm using my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, say that 5 times fast, with my sponge. So I don't generally apply my primers like this, but apparently the sponge actually helps even out the application of your primer, as well as provides more pore filling, amplifies the pore filling effect because it pushes it into your pores. I always thought the warmth of your hands would help that as well, but often you're sort of just swiping it. Sometimes you're tapping it. Apparently the sponge is the way to go. So that is what we are doing. You can see I already have my eyes done. I don't have an eyeshadow hack per se. We've got something a little later that has to do with the eyes when we're finishing them off. So let's take a look. It looks nice and even. My pores do definitely look reduced. I don't have any excess product on my face, but I definitely feel it on there, so it got it on there. So the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot for my giant lines up here, but I'm not expecting it to. I'm not asking it to. So far, so good. Let's move on. The next hack is about what you do right after your primer to make your makeup last longer and to be more mask proof. And that is to spray with setting spray and then powder it. I've never done this before. I did see this hack back in the summer from a couple of creators. I didn't really try it because I thought, honestly, it's another step. So, however, in the summer I was using sort of more of my hardcore foundations that will stick to my face more because it's summer out and I sweat more, and I didn't notice the transfer onto my mask as much. But now in the winter that I'm using more of my hydrating foundations, I'm getting a lot more transfer onto my mask. So I was interested to see if this was going to work. Let's give it a go. I'm going to go ahead and spray with my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Setting Spray. Put a lot on. I like that setting spray, but kind of running through it. I'm gonna have to pick up another one during the Sephora sale. The powder I brought down with me today is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrushed Flawless Setting Powder, and this is in the shade 1 or Fair. You just very lightly, light amount of powder, and tap it on over your setting spray and your primer and under your foundation. I thought I'd give this powder a try for this hack because not too much comes off of the pan when you put your brush into it, and I thought I'd be a little less likely that I will over apply if I use this one versus like one of my loose setting powders. I thought initially about my e.l.f. Halo Glow, which of course is one of my favorites. I do want to risk over applying and messing up the hack. All right, we are primed, we are sprayed, we are powdered. The next hack is to put your concealer on before your foundation. I am gonna go ahead and try that. I've never done this before with a liquid foundation, but let's give it a go. This was something Robert Welsh talked about. Also, I saw Jessica Braun recently talking about it. It's also about the placement. You've got your 2 dots that you put here, and then you put your swipe out here. Mine's almost empty, so I'm not getting much off of it anymore. And then you just tap it out where you want it. Tap that out. I know this concealer is super polarizing. You either absolutely love it or you absolutely hate it. I find if you use very, very little, it can be a very beautiful concealer. It's the Tarte Creaseless concealer. Very little though. Little goes a very, very long way. But if you have super dry under eyes like me, it can provide that hydration and not make you feel like the Crypt Keeper all day, which is pretty awesome. I'm gonna go in and just tap that in, let the warmth of my finger kind of push it in even more, although it's absolutely freezing down here and my fingers are cold. Let's go ahead and do that to the other side. So I'm part of this trick, of course, not only with the putting your concealer underneath your foundation for a more sort of flawless finish, It's about how much you're actually putting under your eyes. Robert Welsh talks about how you spread your concealer out first, and then with whatever's left, that's what you bring under your eyes. Often the problem you have when you're creasing, or it just looks heavy or cakey, is because you've just got too much darn product under your eyeballs. So the next hack that's concealer related is that after you're done putting your concealer on, is you take your sponge, preferably dry. My sponge is pretty much dry now because I've been sitting here a really long time. And you wrap a tissue around it, and then you blot around where you just applied your concealer, and that will lift up any excess product that you might have there. And no swiping, swipe or no swiping, just pressing. And look at the difference already. I mean, it took some of the dewiness down. There's definitely some excess product on my tissue now, and it already almost mattified it on its own. This hack will also help you not over powder, because now, because I've got, pretty much close to the look I'm going for, I would use way less powder to sort of lock this in. The next hack is a combination. We've all heard of using powder foundations just on their own. We've all heard of using powder foundations to set liquid foundations for a little extra coverage or a boost. This is something I had never heard of before, was using a tinted moisturizer and a powder foundation to create a coverage product that isn't cakey or powdery. So the tinted moisturizers don't generally offer a whole heck of a lot of coverage. Sometimes they offer a bit of SPF, sometimes they have a bit of dewiness and make you look like a glowing goddess, but not a whole lot of coverage. That's not generally what they're known for. And powder foundations can have a hell of a lot of coverage, but are really dry. So the moisture from the tinted moisturizer will give something the powder foundation to stick to and then melt into, and it creates sort of this flawless base. So we are going to give that a try. I am using my Tarte Maracuja, what is this called? Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator in the shade 20N Light Neutral. I'm just going to put it on with my fingers because that's generally how I would apply this product. I'm wondering how this is going to go with my powdered, primed face. And I'm being careful around my eye area or wherever I put that concealer so I don't actually lift it up or spread it around where I don't want it. So then I do give this a minute to sort of settle in and set down, but as you can see, I'm sort of glowy. My hair, I'm glowy. My skin is a little more even, but you can definitely still see pretty much all of my redness. You can definitely still see my sunspots, especially my big one. We're a little more even, little more matched with my neck. I'm looking a little yellow today in the camera. Not generally this yellow. So now that my tinted moisturizer has had just a little bit of time to settle down and not be as wet, it's still tacky. I can definitely feel it. We're going to go in with our powder foundation, and I'm using an oldie but a goodie. This is the MAC Studio Fix, and I've got it in the shade NW22. Of course, I'm sure you've heard of this, but the trick with powder foundations is buff, buff, buff. Place it down and buff, buff, buff. So I think this powder foundation is a touch too light for me now. Used a little bit of self-tanner, the self-tanning spray mist guy, and I see some white polka dots going on, so that's my bad. It actually looks really nice in terms of texture, like it looks like my skin. I still have a bit of redness peeking through on my cheeks, which I'm okay with. They're pretty super red at the moment. Just today, I'm just having a red cheek day. I'm gonna be putting blush in that area anyway, so I'm not upset about that. It does look a little emphasized. My pores look a touch emphasized right here. Just a little bit though, not nearly as much as I thought they would. There's nothing gathered in my giant line. The skin feels so soft. I'm interested to see how this wears. Something a little funky going on right here. Maybe I had a little extra moisture and it's caught up a little bit. Let's try and buff it out. Yeah, that looks better. So other than the shade being a touch off and having some sort of white polka dots, I think it looks pretty good. Excellent. So then the next hack again is about keeping your foundation looking great all day long. It's about adding another layer of setting spray. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to add another layer of setting spray. Just a light misting, and then just press in lightly with my sponge, which is almost dry, by the way. I'm curious if this is going to lift anything up. Now I'm going to revisit the under eye powder situation. Just put a touch of my Charlotte Tilbury powder under my eyes. So I don't really have any hacks for bronzer, blush, and highlight, so I am going to go and do that, and I will be right back. Okay, we are back. I've got my bronzer, blush, and highlight done. For bronzer, I just used a combination of my Charlotte Tilbury contour wand, as well as one of my new favorites, the Lumi Bronze It from L'Oreal. For blush, I used an old fave, and this month's current fave is the Super Shock Cheek in Birthday Suit from Colourpop. And for highlighter, another new fave is the Cookie Highlighter from this Cheek Stars palette that I got from my Sephora haul. And that is what we are looking like. So the next hack is a brow hack. And I know that Mel Thompson does this. She always talks about how she uses her brow gel before she fills in her brows. And then recently when I was watching Jessica Braun's video about makeup hacks, and I will link that one down below, it's where some of my inspiration came from today. She did it too, is putting the brow gel in first. So we're gonna give it a try. I have relatively full brows, I think. And I don't usually do a whole lot more than just fill them in. I'm not sure how this is going to work for me, but we will see. So I'm just using the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter, which is a really, really great brow gel. And I'm just running that through my brows, just like I normally would. I'm just going to go back the other way a little bit, make sure all sides are coated. And then I'm going to go in with a spoolie to make sure I have evenly distributed the product and to get them to right in the shape that I want them. This also helps me because sometimes that Benefit, I'm not very careful with it and I get just like gobs of it everywhere and it just looks terrible. So my spoolie is breaking off the end of my brush here. That's really, really excellent news. Super excited about that. I need a little more in the front of this brow. It doesn't want to stand up. Okay. I got that set of brushes from BoxyCharm, so I guess I can't be super surprised or upset. Well, I've gotten some really great brushes from BoxyCharm. That's about as fluffy as they get. So to go in with the brow pencil now, just to fill in any sparse areas and to define what I want to define, I'm just using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. See, the one thing I don't like about this pencil is that every so often a little piece breaks off right in my brows. I think that worked pretty well, actually. I mean, was it easier than how I normally do my brows? I don't know. I say that they probably look a little more naturally fluffy, whereas my brows generally look more just filled in. I think it worked pretty well. The only thing I'm noticing is that I just knocked my mirror over. The only thing I'm noticing is that because I still have to go through and spoolie the product through, it's losing its hold. Like it's almost like my spoolie is scraping away the Benefit brow gel. So I don't know, you guys let me know down below. Are you supposed to go back in with the brow gel afterwards too? To sort of put them back where you want them? Because I feel like I've lost my hold. I mean, they look good to me, I think so, but they've lost their hold. So what's the point? So the next hack I am going to talk about while I'm just throwing some shadow on my lower lash line. And this is for my gals and guys out there that are afraid to wear a whole heck of a lot of color and want to wear some color. One way you can do that is to use a colored liner in your lower waterline. So it just adds a peep of color. Yeah, of course it can look weird if you use too much or depending on the color, but I think it's a great way to wear some color without being too obvious about it. Now, I don't mind wearing colored eyeshadow, so this is not, I really, really love colored eyeshadow. I'm not like Annelica Nyqvist level of colorful eyeshadow, but I do love playing around with color. I just have a touch of blue on the outer corner. I am using my Dream Street palette, by the way, which I got recently and love. To go along with the sort of blue that I do have out in the corner, I am going to use my Colourpop cream gel liner in the shade Catsuit. So it's just a bit of a greenish blue color. The Colourpop cream gel liners are really, really good. I mean, are they the most budge proof ever? No, but they do a really, really good job. And if you just swipe it on lightly, you can really customize your opacity, get a bit of color into your look, and there you go. So if you are afraid of color but want to start dabbling in it a little bit, try throwing a bit of a colorful liner in your lower waterline. And then what I like to do after that is I take kind of like a smudgy brush or a short, fat, stubby thing, and I will go back in and smudge it out a little bit so it's just sort of coming from my waterline, just spilling a little bit down into my lower lash line. That just helps soften the transition just a touch. One thing I will warn about with the cream gel liners, and it seems to be more a color-based thing because I have this issue with some of my cream gel liners but not others, is that you got to really be mindful of how much you're rolling it up because they do break kind of easily. So just be careful. All right, we've got a pop of color in our lower waterline. And we're moving on to mascara. The mascara hack that I recently heard about, which I think might be game-changing for me, is to put your lower lash mascara on first. So the point of this hack is that it will reduce the transfer to your eyeshadow, because if you're looking down to do your eyeshadow and then you're looking up to put your lower lash mascara on, not eyeshadow, mascara, your top lashes, which you've just coated, will actually touch your eyelid. And especially for us hooded gals, that's a big problem. So we're going to try putting our lower lash mascara on first. This is just Benefit Roller Lash, featured in a recent video. I'm not sure if that one is up yet or coming soon. And I thought this one would be a good mascara to try this hack with because not too much product comes off right away. Often we will do our top lashes first because we want to get off some of the product off the wand before we go into our lower lash line. So there's a little less product there. You know what I'm saying. But this one, because of the, the smaller wand and the pretty darn good stopper thing they have in the bottle, I don't ever find I get too much product off. Lower lash line is done. I'm going to go ahead and curl my top lashes and get them ready, and we will see how this works. I mean, clearly I didn't get any mascara transfer because I haven't done it yet, so that's promising. A little note while I'm doing this about my base, about my foundation sort of face situation. It is looking textured around my mouth. I do really, really struggle with that area, so I'm not gonna write it off just because of that, because the rest of my face actually looks pretty good. It's just a little extra textured right here. And I did use a pore filling primer, so maybe it's the fact that I didn't use enough because I was just patting it on with the sponge. Maybe it's the combination of the hydrator or all the layers that I have on my face between the setting spray and the powder and the setting spray and the, so who knows? But I'm looking a little extra textured here, but pretty good on my top lip, which is another spot that I'll see almost right away if something's going wrong with the base. Go in with our top lashes, getting down to the dregs. Gonna need a new one. Of course I have a mini. Hi, if you're new here, I love minis, especially mini mascaras, because guys, I like to have a variety of mascaras, and because we change them out so often, I mean, I never use up a full-size mascara. So why the hell not buy the mini? I know value and it's not as good a value as the large size. Literally just poked myself in the eyeball. But I don't care. I find it a better value overall because then I'm not wasting product by having to throw it out when it gets old and gross. or has literally been sitting in my drawer for 5-6 months and probably shouldn't be putting it on my eyes. I know I should be looking down into my mirror. With the way my lights are angled, when I do that, it kind of flashes off my mirror and blinds me a little. All right, top lash is done. I will wait for that mascara after jabbing myself in the eyeball. But yeah, I mean, that hat worked. Am I gonna remember to always do my lower lash line first after 30 years of doing my top lashes first? Yeah, probably not, but yeah, the rest of my base actually looks really, really good. It's just right here, a little heavy. Might want to put just like 1 or 2 less layers. But here I go. I'm going to put 1 more layer of setting spray on, and this is sort of my final setting spray. And for this, I am going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Yeah, this VIB sale can't come soon enough because look at, this is my current favorite setting spray. I love this stuff. And the next hack has to do with this setting spray in particular. I can't say whether this works with any other setting spray, but it does work with this one. I will spray my face. Then I will let it dry, you know, as per usual. But then I actually take whatever mask I'm wearing, and from a distance, you want a very, very little, because of course, as soon as you dampen a mask, it's actually reducing its efficacy, and there's all sorts of science there. You want to sort of mist your setting spray across your mask. And for me, actually not even the whole mask. So where I've sort of been concentrating my setting spray on my mask is just the strands. Of course, because I work in a hospital, I have to wear the blue, you know, medical masks through the day. So sometimes I will just even like have my sponge in my makeup bag, bring this, I will spray a little onto my sponge and just sort of squeeze the straps, and way less transfer. I still get transfer, but not as much from my foundation. It always seems to be just around here from bronzer blush. Way less transfer if you throw a little of this stuff in your mask. And I wish I would have figured that out sooner, because game changer. I sometimes have like half my face in my mask when I take it off at the end of the day, especially because it's winter and I'm really trying to wear like my more hydrating products, but they just smear off on the mask, which is so frustrating. So this way I can sort of wear them, powder them down, spray my face, spray my mask just a touch, just a little, let it dry, and not in the middle where I'm breathing. I don't care so much about that. I don't get too much transfer from my nose and chin, just sort of that outer seam and the straps. And I have gotten way, way less transfer since I've done that, which is excellent. That is it for my hacks today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would really love if you did. And that button is just down below. Go ahead and turn your notification bell to all so you see all my future uploads. I am uploading currently on Monday and Wednesday, and sometimes an occasional third video per week, depending on how life is. Other than that, I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, be healthy, and wash your damn hands. Bye.